The meltdown is mandatory. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest edition, live edition of Morning Fewell. Yes, it's still morning, particularly in the central and western part of the United States. And so I'm here to join you in a drink of coffee in order to get my head wrapped around the meltdown. So here we go. Oh, well, I'm beginning to heal because this is the topic that's on my mind this week. It's come to my attention again and again and again that every time we're on the cusp or we're on the verge of like real momentum and real breakthrough, then the meltdown happens. And it happens in our teams. It happens in our projects, and it happens again and again. And so I wanted to spend a little bit of time today to just really unpack it for myself and for people like you. So I want to just walk us through what is this about and what do we do? So I'll start first with some fun quotes. This is described by the quote that Tony Robbins is attributed. There is no breakthrough without a breakdown. And so this is the kind of describes when our projects finally get going. We finally got some people working on them. We finally got some focus, some participation from our sponsors and our stakeholders. And then as soon as we get started, here comes objections and criticism. And that's not how we do things here. And you forgot to involve me. And, oh, we can't possibly use that person or that infrastructure yet because of this excuse and that reason. That's one kind of breakdown. The other breakdown is the one that I'm going through when I'm dealing with all of that mess. So I was excited to be given this new initiative. I was excited to be doing something that's never been done before as far as trying to heal the toxicity in the organization by bringing people together in big room planning or bring people together in an offsite alignment workshop. And then as soon as I start, boom, they're coming at you with, no, I don't think that's appropriate. And boom. And I think, are you out for my job? Is that what this is about? And then all of a sudden you start looking at yourself like, okay, am I the problem? Did I go about this all wrong? Have I taken off more than I can handle? Have I taken up more than I can handle? And so the Tony Robbins quote, there is no breakthrough without a breakdown. It's also a phrase Jennifer Renee Watson is credited with saying, our biggest breakthrough comes after a soul-crushing breakdown. If you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to create a new business, a new app, and you're just putting yourself out there, here comes negative Nelly or the doubting Thomas, and they're just coming at you with, oh, that's just not it's a cool idea, but nobody's going to buy that. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't do it that way. So it's obviously wrong. And I'm here to save you from the torment of disappointment. And so, boom, here comes the negativity. Marshall McLuhan, he says, any breakdown is a breakthrough. And kind of we're peeling away the numbing effects of the daily ordinary. We're peeling away, and that peeling is raw. Cherie Moraga, I think is the way you say this person's name, says, sometimes a breakdown can be the beginning of a kind of breakthrough, a way of living in advance through a trauma, rejection, criticism, failure, was such that trauma prepares you for a future of radical transformation. That's an energizing thought. When I announced the live earlier this week that we were going to be doing this topic, an old friend, Claire, she used this terminology. She said, what you're describing is when theory hits reality. Because this is the tension, isn't it? Every time we start a new initiative, every time we put our name forward, we throw our hat in the ring, we expect it to go really well all the way. Why? Well, because we believe in the potential for the product or the service that we're putting out. We believe in the potential for restructuring our teams to be a little bit more focused and a little bit more cloud. We believe in these things. And so obviously, if we believe, then we're going to put forward our best foot, or put the best foot forward. But then here comes the reality. And this reality curve is called the J curve. And I've written about this in the book, Untapped Agility. And in the book, I pulled together a couple of examples of this. Virginia Satir is credited with calling this the change curve when dealing with personal change, psychological change. There's an entire book called the J curve with respect to nation building. Like how do we respond to changes in government that are super disruptive? Well, the intent is that first a disruption happens, and then eventually stability comes down the road. In money, in economics, the J curve describes how you have to spend money before you make money. And so this is a fundamental pattern in the human experience, and we keep forgetting it. I know I do. I run into this as a small business owner all the time, where, this customer is really going to like this, or this client is really going to like this, or this employee is really going to like this. And then here comes a little bit of reality of doubts. Not understand. I don't understand what this is about, Jesse. Can you kind of? I don't think this is going to work out. It just doesn't. Oh man. So this is part of the job. So what do we do? Well, I'm going to borrow a pattern. It's called the wisdom pattern from a Franciscan monk who is a best-selling author right now. His name is Richard Rohr, and he wrote a book called The Wisdom Pattern. And I love this pattern because it really describes the sequence. So the sequence is we move from order to disorder to reorder. Let's unpack it. We start off with the existing order of things, the status quo, whether it's the current dysfunctional, toxic workplace, whether it's my career stuck on pause for the last 5 years, or whether it's product that is just limping along, or a service that is on a heartbeat. And so this is the existing situation. This is what we know. And it provides a lot of comfort because we know it. It also provides a baseline. And so when we have a baseline that's anchored, it can create some stability, again, comfort. And so this is what we know. Then here comes the change leader with silly ideas. Here comes the disruptive transformation, change agent, the transformation visionary who's going to fix all the problems, right? And immediately we've just created disorder or disorder. We've immediately created disorder. And disorder is what results in new ideas. Disorder results from a change of direction, a change of people on the team, a change of leadership, because the status quo has been disrupted. Why? Because we believe in that there's a better way and that there's a better opportunity. There's a new leader who comes in who believes that they can have a positive impact, that they can make things even better than what they've inherited. That we believe that there's a new technology that can make things even better. And so we're disrupting the existing order in order to improve the workplace, the team, to improve our relationships, to improve our collective sanity. And so recognize this is how it feels when change happens to me. And this is how they feel when we inject change on them. You, as the project manager or the product manager, you as the transformation coach, you as the head of the PMO, you are a disorder maker in the eyes of everyone who wasn't asking for it, even though we know they needed it, even though we know they needed more collaboration, more quality, faster delivery. We know that people need, we need these things. And so this is the breakdown. This is the meltdown. And it's really about deconstructing the existing structures, deconstructing the existing policies and metrics and structures. The glue that's held everything, the status quo in place, well, we're unwinding that. We're peeling away. Where Cherie Moraga was talking about, it feels like trauma. And this has to happen. We have to pull the building blocks apart in order to get to the reorder. And this is what we see. We see the new reality, the future state, the better state. We see this in our minds and in our hearts, and we want so much to make it happen that we forget you first got to make a mess. You can't make an omelet without scrambling some eggs. Yeah, that's a little cliche. Really, it's not an omelet. It's a new fundamental reality we're trying to create. And so here's a couple of challenges about the reorder. Number one, it may not look like what we thought it would look like. So if you're trying to productize an organization, you're trying to build a productized organization, move away, #no projects. We gotta move away from projects into products, because the project mindset is old school and the product mindset is new school. And so we're going to go on that, and everybody's going to be more focused. All of our work is going to be more business oriented and revenue driven, and it's going to be so much better. And then when we get to the future state, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years later, this is not the productized. These are not the product work streams that I had envisioned. No. And the people that are in charge of them are not the people that I wanted to be in charge of these product work streams. No. And oh, by the way, people didn't like this change, so we had a 20% attrition. And now everybody's working even harder than ever before because 20% of us didn't want to opt into this. So the future state we're going for may not look like what we envisioned. And then we take another step back into freaking out. Oh, I can't believe this is not what I've signed up for. This is not what's going to. And so what do we do? And so because I've been in this place a number of times, I know for myself how I get out of it. And this is what I coach all of my clients to do. Is number one, embrace the suck. This is it's a quote from the military, because you're having to go through training, and the idea is that training and practice should be so bad that when you get into the challenges of the real world, you can handle it. And so when you're in this process, embrace the breakdown that's coming before the breakthrough. Not only is the environment changing and the people in it change, I'm changing as well as the initiator, the agent, the leader. So number one, embrace it. Number two, find the energy where you can. What energizes you? What brings you back in? So just last week, I was going through, and so I put on a podcast. Put on an encouraging one of the spiritual podcasts that I listened to, and it was like super energizing and clarifying. I was like, okay, that's right. This is part of a bigger picture. And this is particularly important that you know how to energize yourself, because sometimes the resistance comes from those closest to you. And those closest to you don't understand. They don't see the vision that you have, whether like it's your team or your boss, or maybe even your family and your friends. So number one, embrace the suck, embrace the breakdown. It's part of the process you're coming to. Number two, find the energy. What energizes you? What boosts you into a positive mindset? Is there a playlist that you can listen to when you're going to go for a walk that just is kind of getting you fired up? And then number three, one step at a time. One step at a time. So the only way we get to the new order of things, the reordering of things, is one step at a time. And so that means is we have to balance out our passion with our patience. That we have this belief that the new order of things, the new state of things, is going to be a much better place where I can contribute more value, where I can get the recognition of all of the value that I'm contributing, where my teams have deep and meaningful professional relationships, where leaders are creating a healthy work environment. I believe in this and I have passion around this. And so stay connected to that passion. Stay connected to that passion, but also recognize it's going to take time. The upswing on this J curve is not overnight. It's going to take time. And so that balancing out of patience and passion is one of the hardest parts of being the person who's trying to make things better, trying to improve the workplace for them, but also for me. Business author Jim Collins, he calls this the Stockdale paradox. And if you were to Google up the Stockdale paradox, it's named after a POW survivor. And the way the story goes is this POW, whose name was Stockdale, was asked when he came back to civilization, and he said, what was the difference for people who made it out and people who didn't? People who made it through the trauma, the tribulation, the despair, the pain, the torture, the literal physical torture of being a prisoner of war. And he said, I'll tell you who didn't make it. It was the people who were naive, who believed that, this will be rescued, right? The war will be over and then we'll be sent back home and it'll happen next month. No problem. Those people, the naive, they kept believing and believing it. And eventually their souls, they would lose faith. And then there were the bitter, the embittered, who despaired right away. They didn't even go through the naive phase. They just went straight to the bitter despair. And so he said the people who made it out of their trauma, out of their breakdown, out of their meltdown, are the ones who faced the harsh reality, who recognized this is going to take time and it's not going to be pleasant, but also stuck to their passion and their belief about the art of the possible and what could actually happen. So when you find yourself in the land of disorder, the meltdown, the breakdown before the breakthrough, the meltdown before the momentum, when you find yourself here, number one, embrace it. It's part of the process. Number two, find what energizes you so that you can keep your passion alive. And then number three, balance that patience, that passion with patience, that reality with a little bit of reinvigoration. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, Thursday, September 2nd, that the meltdown is mandatory. Yes, it is. And we can get through it. And if possible, maybe with a little bit of caffeine to help you make it happen. So here we go. Now I believe in a caffeinated state. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we will Oh man, Dana and Diane, thanks for chiming in. It is so cool to see you guys here. And I'm super grateful that you chimed in. Yes, very cool. All right, gang, that's all for now. And now that Diane and Dana are here, we're going to high five, boo, and then say, I'll see you all next time.